A do-or-die task. Can Republicans in Congress pass their tax plan? The top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell admitting yesterday he misspoke when he said that middle-class Americans will not see a tax hike under the GOP plan. That was the day after Gary Cohn, the president's economic advisor, cited the trickle-down benefits of the plan. In a CNBC interview, Cohn was also asked what Wall Street thought of the tax proposal.
You, I imagine, are the point person in the White House for big CEOs because you come from their world, they know you. What are you hearing from them right now?
The most excited group out there are big CEOs about our tax plan. When you talk to all the CEOs, they're the most excited about this.
Joining me now, Jeremy Slevin, who's part of the poverty program at the Center for American Progress. You heard what was said there by Cohn. They're the most excited because they have the most to benefit from.
That's right. So we see about 80% of the benefits in this plan go to just corporations alone. That's not even counting the wealthiest. And then when you break down the individuals by dollar. So looking at the individuals, it's almost all to the top 1%, and then the top 0.1%. By 2027, they're getting something like almost $300,000 in tax cuts every year.
So some of the things that middle America cares about, right? And the middle class, there is the interest deduction.
Yes.
There's the ability to deduct taxes that you pay both locally and on the state level. Where are we at in the House versus Senate plan?
Yeah, so the Senate plan goes even further on the state and local tax deduction. They eliminate it entirely. That's going to make it really hard for a lot of these House Republicans, especially from New York or California and these more high-tax states, because that soaks their middle class.
Right. And so what is going to end up to be the dominant plan? Leaning more towards the House, more towards the Senate? Are they both dead? The president says he thinks it's going to be the Senate.
I think that's the challenge. I think the current Senate plan is more feasible than the House. It costs less. It's easier to get out. But it's a big challenge. You can't get this Senate plan passed out of the House of Representatives as it stands. So I think they're going to have a tough time with either plan.
So the CBO scored the House plan, $1.7 trillion over 10 years added to our debt. And equivalently, you know, it's a total deficit. Is that not good for us? Some will say, well, it's okay, because when you look at our debt compared to other countries around the world, our debt to GDP, and I hate to get in the weeds here for a second, is not as bad as some other countries.
So the big problem, and some Republicans have already said what they're going to do, they're going to add to this deficit, and then they will likely, as they outlined in their budget, cut programs like Medicaid and Medicare, which has $1.5 trillion in cuts in the Senate budget. So the real risk, in addition to debt being a problem in itself, is this that ends up falling on middle-class families.
Yeah, so they're hoping to get this done before Turkey Day, by the end of the year is the word that we're hearing. Likely that you'll get a vote on this before the end of the year?
I think it's going to be really tough for them to get it by Christmas.
Who are you watching? Who are you watching? That's going to be pivotal here. Is it McConnell and Ryan? Are those the players?
So those are obviously the leaders. I think in the Senate it's similar to health care. McCain has expressed real reservations about regular order. There have been no hearings on this in either chamber. So you're looking at Susan Collins and John McCain and maybe Jeff Flake and Bob Corker.
Okay. Jeremy Slevin, thank you so much. Ex-MSNBC, but doing quite well for himself. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back.